feel battered today. Hi, my name's Chegs. This is episode 13 of my Road to Sobriety journey. I'm on day 29 of my current streak today, day 30 tomorrow, which is madness. That has come around so quickly. Although there hasn't been massive life changes yet, it does feel like one of the best and most productive months of my life. I am still really embracing being sober, and I'm loving growing myself and sort of being grateful for everything in my life. Today I just wanted to recap the weekend mainly, as I've had quite a good weekend. I've had a lot going on. So on Friday evening I went to the football. It was Leicester versus Nottingham Forest. It was an awful performance by Leicester, which obviously is the team that I support. Obviously that can happen sometimes, especially this season being back in the Premier League. I'm sure it will happen plenty of times. Before the game went to the pub, and then afterwards went back to a friend's house to play some games. I was the only one there not drinking, which was fine after the game, but probably for the first time since starting my sort of current sobriety journey, the pub felt quite tough beforehand. At first it was fine, but we were there quite a while before the game because it was a friend's birthday, the friend whose house we went back to. It also was quite a big game. Obviously Leicester and Nottingham Forest are two kind of local rivals-ish, you could call it. I just referred to a list that I have on my phone of reasons to not drink sort of before going, so that was kind of fresh in my mind. But as it kind of dragged on a bit, obviously you sat there and you're not drinking, other people are, and that's fine, but every now and then that can get a bit difficult. I wasn't ever really tempted to go up to the bar and buy a drink, but I did find myself getting a bit sort of bored, which can then lead to you feeling like it starts to like creep into your mind a little bit. But like I say, I was quite resilient with that, and there's going to be times where it is difficult. After the game I felt really good for it. It did feel like a big hurdle that I've overcame there on Friday night, because in the past it would have been the type of evening where I would have had quite a bit to drink, with going to the football and there being a birthday and everything like that, being at the pub for quite a long time beforehand. I would have been probably drinking quite a few pints of beer when we were out, and then drinking back at my mate's house afterwards. I did feel very kind of empowered for it because I didn't drink. Also, what I realised was afterwards, even though the game was awful, I didn't feel quite as bad about what I just watched, because I didn't have alcohol in my system to make me feel even worse about it. Obviously, alcohol is a depressant, and if you are feeling a bit rubbish about things, it will compound that feeling. I didn't have that to deal with, which was a plus. On Saturday, I went to Nottingham for the day to visit a friend who lives there, and that was very fun. I had an amazing coffee in this place called Effie, or Effie, I don't know how you actually say it, EFFY. She was calling it Effie, and then I was fully expecting it to be like Turkish for some reason, because that sounds a bit Turkish, I think. Effie, feel like, I don't know. If anyone's in Nottingham, great place for a coffee. Maybe one of the best, maybe the best coffee I've ever had, to be honest, which I was not expecting to say, being in Nottingham. Then just did some pottering around and went to the pub where I had a Guinness Zero, which is another great alcohol-free alternative. A lot of people say it's the best one. I would say it might well be, to be honest. It's the best one in terms of trying to replicate a pre-existing alcoholic drink, I would say. I do really like Lucky Saint too, which obviously I've had on here before, and there's also a lager called Freedom, which is very nice, which I do recommend. Then after the pub we went for an amazing dinner at a restaurant called Iberico World Tapas. Really great food, and had an amazing time there too. Then after that just went back to my friend's house, drove back to Leicester, got home at like midnight, so it was quite a late one, but like I say, just went for the day. Then today I went for the big run that I'd been talking about doing. I did actually end up doing 18 miles, not 80, 18 miles. 80 miles would be a bit mad, wouldn't it? 18 miles, which is my furthest run ever, so I'm very happy with that. I am feeling very tired now, and my legs feel a bit battered, I will be sleeping for quite a while tonight. But yeah, like I say, furthest run ever, I would never have been able to do that when I was in a cycle of drinking and smoking. I would not have probably been able to have even... I've run really since I've been 18, on and off, but in periods where I was a heavy user of alcohol and obviously smoking, I would have struggled to run like 5k. That today is like worlds away from obviously where I previously would have been health and fitness wise. Weirdly, at 6.5 miles, I actually saw my ex-girlfriend. We're on pretty good terms really, so it was actually nice to see her, catch up with her for a good amount of time. We both appreciated that we're doing our own stuff now. That situation has been so much easier to process once I've got sober. I just find, and I think most people tend to, that your emotional state is a lot more balanced, obviously, when you're not got alcohol in the mix, and you can also like rationalise stuff a lot easier than if you've got the fallout of alcohol on certain days. And that in itself just meant that today could be nice without me having the after effects of, say, alcohol in my system from like the night before, because I think if that had been the case and I'd seen her, I would have been a bit like panicky and stressed out about it. It might not have gone like very well and left a bit of a sour taste in both our mouths, whereas that today was like very civil and nice and like almost like talking to a friend really. Just staying on the topic of obviously alcohol and having to process quite big emotional changes in your life, Kendrick Lamar actually has a song called Mother I Sober. In that he does say, you ain't felt grief till you felt it sober. I couldn't agree with that more really. In this situation, although obviously you're not necessarily grieving somebody dying, a lot of people do liken a relationship ending to grieving a death sort of thing, because you're losing that person in your life. I think you do have to be sober to fully process that, and certainly for me, I still needed to fully grieve, and it took sobering up to completely process and close the book on that side of my life really. Another benefit, I guess, of getting sober, obviously it's not necessarily one that you really want to have to go through all the time, but it does mean that, like I say, yeah, when a big emotional change or like a loved one or something happens with family or something, it's so much easier to process and deal with the situation if you don't have substances in the mix in your system. Obviously after that I kept running, of course, and like I say, ended up doing 18 miles. I will stick my stats up as I do. I'll stick a picture of me on the run as well. Definitely still targeting a marathon next year. That is well within my reach, as long as I obviously stay consistent with everything. You don't want to get complacent. Just a final thought for today, I've had a realisation that if you say you're going to do something in your life, you have to stay committed. I think when you do follow through with things, it starts to become a habit and filters into other areas of your life. The things that you then want in life, you're not just kind of thinking about wanting them, you're actually taking action and doing stuff to achieve those things. Though it seems quite a basic thing, I think a lot of people have thoughts of like stuff that they want for themselves or how they want their life to look, and they never put things into action. And I think a big part of that can be when you find yourself lost in cycles of drinking, because that just takes away time from time that you could be spending on developing yourself, learning new things, improving yourself, getting your career going in the direction that you wanting it to, your side hustle, your YouTube videos like I've obviously been doing, whatever it is, running, gym, the less you drink, the more time you have to dedicate to those crafts and hobbies. And I think that's very powerful too, to be somebody who can always stay true to their word and have conviction in what they say. I've been guilty of it in the past, saying this is what I want, this is what I'm going to do, and then never doing it, because I end up spending a load of time smoking or drinking or something instead, which obviously is not the priority. My sobriety is not just the only example of me doing this of late, but also obviously like little things like in the last episode saying that I want to do a big run between 18 and 20 miles today, and then I've done that now, and I think you do have more conviction in your life when you are sober. So that's just something that I've kind of realised and noticed as well. So yeah, that is episode 13 ticked off. Next episode 14, very rapidly approaching the end of the month. I will film another one of these, a midweek one, which will probably be a bit shorter on. I think I've got it in for Tuesday, so that is probably when I'll see everyone next.